All right. What is going on, everybody? Everyone's got to be feeling good about this one. The Chiefs dominating the Bears 41-10. Welcome into another episode of the Chiefs Zone. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all enjoyed that one. I think it's safe to say everybody enjoyed that ass whooping. Yes. No one is saying anything about the Chiefs receivers, Patrick Mahomes needing help from the defense. Nobody's going to be saying anything about that. And I guarantee you, the people who were really loud a couple of weeks ago about the Chiefs after they started the season 0-1, nobody's saying shit after this one. This Chiefs team looked pretty damn good. Oh, what, Farzin? It's the Bears. It's not that impressive. Yeah, but that's what you're supposed to do when you're playing the Bears. You're supposed to put up a score like 41-10. It was, what was it? It was 41-0 by the time they put in all the backups. So I'm feeling pretty damn good about this one. This was really one of the best games in the Mahomes era so far. And, you know, you've heard a lot of people talk about it the past couple of weeks. You heard Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen allude to this. This is by far the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had during his time in Kansas City. This was one of those games. See, Chris says it right here in the comments. No heart attack game. Yes, it's nice to have one of those for a change. This game was over at halftime. I mean, even a few minutes before then. I mean, once you got into the 20s and the 30s, you pretty much knew this was over. You could see the what's the word I'm looking for? The body language from Chicago's sidelines. You knew the game was over. Plain and simple. By the way, I put this in the title description. I don't know if you guys can click it. I will comment. Just commented. Call into the show. Hopefully that link works. We haven't had a lot of people call in, so I'm going to give this one last chance. And if people don't call in, then we might need to abandon this moving forward. So, by the way, it was Taylor Swift Day at the stadium. If you guys didn't know. I loved how they kept showing Taylor Swift after like every other Travis Kelce reception. Obviously, they cut right to her as soon as Travis Kelce caught the pass. And Greg Olsen was joking, but might not have been joking, that this might be the first time where Patrick Mahomes is not the most popular person in the stadium. Everyone was all glued in on Taylor Swift. I mean, even people that were sitting like in front of their suite would turn around, and apparently there were people trying to like capture pictures and videos of her just to get her reaction anytime something happened. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of people talking about Blaine Gabbert. He did not play very well. The second interception, really not on him. I mean, look, the guy had an incredible career in Mizzou. Got to the NFL, just did not pan out. And it's weird because I feel like Chase Daniel, and we're getting off topic here, I just feel like Chase Daniel got far more hype coming out of Mizzou than Gabbert did, yet Chase Daniel went undrafted, had a really solid career as a backup, whereas Blaine Gabbert became a first-round draft pick, drafted number 10 overall in 2009, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. I think it was 2010, and it just hasn't been very good for him. So nonetheless, though, 41 points on the scoreboard today, okay? And that was in 3.5 quarters, I think. They got 2.5 quarters. They put up 41 points in 2.5 quarters. Think about the first couple of weeks from the Chiefs. Okay, they put up 20 points in week 1. They put 17 points last week. The Chiefs scored more points today than they did the first 2 weeks. Again, it's Chicago, but this is what you're supposed to do when you're playing a team like Chicago, who in complete disarray, by the way. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the type of game Kansas City needed to build some confidence, create some momentum, get some on-field chemistry going with this offense. And listen, even on the touchdown pass to Marquez Valdez-Scantling that got called back, I think the Chiefs still were able to get something going on there. My point with that is, even though that got called back because of the whole Jawaan Taylor situation, I'm sure we'll get into that shortly. I still like the way MVS got wide open and just gashed right through for an easy, walked in for an easy touchdown. And I think things like that, you can definitely look at that on film, try to figure out what you did and try to apply it in the future against other teams. The Chiefs receivers have not had a lot of difficulty getting open. That has not been the problem for the Chiefs this season. The problem has been, trying to take care of the football. That's been the issue. Penalties were not an issue today. Turnovers were not an issue, at least not when the starters were out there. None of that was an issue in this game. The only two problems I had with the Chiefs today, number one was not getting a score on the opening drive, but they were, I mean, that was pretty much like an afterthought considering you put up 41. The only other issue is the whole Jawaan Taylor thing. Listen, I don't know what to say about this. I had a couple of people, a couple of my friends were texting me. They're like, dude, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't get it. This guy supposedly did it all of last year in Jacksonville. No one cared. He comes to Kansas City. He's doing it in week one. Well, he did it in the preseason and no one cared. He does it in week one. Suddenly, the rules expert on NBC cares. And I'm really curious how much they decide to talk about that next week because the Chiefs do play Sunday night. So I would be very curious to see the broadcast crew for that game discuss this because it just seemed like that helped exacerbate this entire thing. And that ended up spiraling into this penalty-riddled situation we have with Jawaan Taylor. Got him benched for a second week in a row. He has, you look at the first couple of weeks, he's considered the best pass-blocking offensive tackle in the NFL. So the blocking with Jawaan Taylor is not an issue whatsoever. It's the whole pre-snap situation. And look, I mean, if the referees are cutting on that, then I guess he's got to adjust. He's got to adjust. Here's what I would like to see, and I don't know if there's any way of being able to see, like if there's anyone that can maybe post this online. So the two plays Jawaan Taylor got penalized for, one of them was a big deal because it was a touchdown that nullified a touchdown. I mean, how is he lining up on all of the other snaps? Is he lining up just fine? Is it close? What's going on there? I don't know if the Chiefs, like if Andy Reid and Matt Nagy can consult with a league expert under Roger Goodell. I don't know if that is a possibility. That's just weird to me. I don't know like where the issue lies. Is it happening on just two snaps? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on how all of that works. Okay, so I guess a lot of people no one's even calling in. We had a few, very few people call in this year since we switched to the new system. So I guess we might be shifting away from this whole thing later on, unless we get some calls later on. So yeah, I see a couple of people. Actually, someone just called in, and is going to be waiting on hold for just a moment. Bear with me. So in general, I think, let me know, by the way, how do you guys feel about everything today? Whether it's the Mahomes injury, hopefully it's going to be all right. I'm sure Andy Reid will talk to the media shortly. The Jawaan Taylor situation, the offense picking it up today, the defense continuing to dominate. This defense has been pretty damn good this year. 3 games, only 3 touchdowns allowed by the defense. One of them was in garbage time. So this defense is, I mean, they're pretty good. And by the way, the garbage time touchdown was thanks to the interception that Blaine Gabbert threw. All right, Daniel, I see you're on hold. What's going on, man? How are you feel? Oh, whoops, I just removed him. There you go. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Wish I would have saw the second half. I have the DirecTV Sunday or YouTube Sunday ticket, whatever they call it, and they changed the game. They changed the game on me, so I missed the whole entire second half. I mean, other than what the clips I got from Red Zone. So it was like, man, come on. I want to enjoy a blowout. Come on.
Well, hold on. Where do you live, first of all? Like what region?
I'm in Florida.
Okay, you're in Florida. Here's what I can say, because here's my second question. How are you watching YouTube TV? Is it on your phone, your iPad, your smart TV? How are you watching?
I subscribe to it. It's on my TV. I subscribe to YouTube TV.
Okay,
I've been a
so
subscriber for a while.
here's what you can do if they switch out of games and they don't give you like, I mean, there should be another option to watch the Chiefs, but if you don't, I think they have the option. I've been watching it this way whenever the Chiefs are not on. If you click the game you want to watch, there are options to watch games on split screens. I've been doing a lot of that.
I was watching it because they had the multi-view, so I was actually watching all 3 games at once. And then I went to go do something for my kids. I came back, and next thing you know, they switched the game, and it said
to
Bears at Chiefs, and they came. Kurt Murphy came, or whatever his name is. Kurt came and says, "We're gonna switch your game to a more competitive game." I was like, "No." I said, "Oh wait, I have DirecTV up. This isn't a national broadcast. I should be able to have the actual game no matter what." That's what happened last time I had Sunday Ticket a couple years ago. That even though if it was a national televised game, I just flipped it over to whatever game it was showing.
Yeah, see, someone else in the comments is saying that they're in Florida also, and they had YouTube TV. That is weird.
Yeah, I mean, so, I was able to. I saw the pick.
So let me get this straight. So when they switched over, you said you were watching on the split screen. So did you have 2 games of the Cowboys Cardinals game?
Yes.
Okay. See, that is on YouTube TV or the NFL. Whoever is responsible for putting that. So that sucks. Yeah. They they can't.
I love that. I love that split screen. Saturdays I got 4 games going on. You know, I don't like the fact that we can't customize it because I really, especially in college football, I want to watch like all the key games. Like I hate that we can't customize it yet, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll fix that.
I think I saw someone online that the option to customize it will go. That was my biggest complaint with DirecTV. So I'm hoping YouTube TV fixes that. I heard rumors about it, but I don't know, man. That sucks. You missed out. But hey, listen, you didn't miss too much. If we're being,
I mean, I saw the pick. I flipped it over to the red zone and I saw the pick. I saw the touchdown. But my thing is, you talk about Jawaan Taylor. Is it because the referees got so much bad heat week 1 opening night that they said, "Hey, you know what? We're just gonna call it now for everything."
No listen, man, whenever like let's step away from football for a second. Anytime in our society today, when someone gets a lot of backlash for something, people have to adjust to it because you have to appease these people who are outraged, right? That's kind of what happened here. So yeah, you're right. I think it had a lot to do with the 2 announcers complaining and whoever the rules expert is on NBC. I can't remember his name. I think he made a big deal about it too. So yeah, I think that was a really huge deal because of those guys right there. So that's what happens. If this was like a 12 p.m. Fox game in week 1, then I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. But because it was a national game, that's just the way it all worked out.
I mean, I don't know. Some of these rule analysts, I mean, during the punt return on Monday night, guys like, "Oh, well, they just got away with the trip, so that touchdown shouldn't have counted." Like, come on, enjoy the game and don't. Who cares if it's not called? It's not called. Personally, but I mean, I like. Other than that, let's see. I like the way the defense has been playing lights out. Like I said last week, Chris Jones. Like I said last week, Chris Jones doesn't need training camp. You know, so
valid point. He's looking really, really good so far. All right. Well, hey, Daniel. I appreciate Oh, go ahead, man. I'll give you one last.
I was going to say, I don't care if you win by 50. If you win by one, a win is a win. So the fact that we didn't score 70 points, who cares? You know, last time I checked, we both got a win.
Yeah,
so I'm really looking forward to that Germany game because I think if they play the way they're playing both those teams, it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I'm nervous / excited for that one. That should be a great game for the people in Germany. Well, hey Daniel, I appreciate calling in, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. All right. If anyone else wants to call in, don't be shy. Call into the show there. Let me copy and paste that so I don't have to type it out every single time. In general, I think the whole thing with the Jawaan Taylor thing, I mean, look, I'll say it again. if the referees are calling it, if the NFL is saying, hey, yes, this is a penalty and needs to be called, then I guess they got to adjust. I just hate it that it gets exacerbated the way it did. Like, okay, the Aaron Rodgers injury that happened on Monday Night Football, because it happened on primetime. And again, a lot of people are tuning into that because it is it's week one, obviously. And a lot of people want to see this Jets team that got all the hype they received. Everyone was watching that. And because everyone was watching that, they made a big deal about the whole turf and natural grass thing. I'm like, an Achilles injury has nothing to do with grass or turf. I've talked to a couple of former players about that, and they've said the same thing. It's just that's not what it was about, which is a little weird that that it was the things that happen to key players in key games. It becomes a big deal. Like last year when Mahomes went down with that ankle injury in the playoffs, there were some people talking about whether or not it should be allowed to land on a quarterback like that. Like, listen, you're obviously not trying to injure the guy. You're just trying to get to him. It just happened that, Orlando Brown, shocker, was allowing him to go all the way around and came from behind and brought down Mahomes. It's like, that's just the way the injury happened. It wasn't intentional. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of things becoming a big deal because they happen to a big player or any of that stuff. Yeah, a lot of people excited about Taylor Swift being there. Scott says, Farzine, wish me happy birthday. Happy birthday, Scott. Happy birthday to you. You got a 41-10 win on Taylor Swift Day at Arrowhead Stadium. You will not have a bigger birthday. Well, hopefully you have bigger birthdays in the future, but a big birthday nonetheless for you. Happy birthday, man. Donald says, man, let me try to put that on there. Why is it not? StreamYard's not cooperating today. Man, I need him Mahomes to throw just 13 yards. Yeah, I saw a lot of people complain that they needed just a few more yards. I needed 2 more field goals during the noon kickoff games. Yeah, this is a good point by Ron. If there were no picks, Gabbert probably from Gabbert, yeah, they would have shut him out. Yeah. Listen, I mean, I know statistically speaking, it's not going to be recognized as a shutout, but when the starters were there, it was a shutout. Okay. The Chiefs probably would have kept that going all the way through, more likely than not. So good on the Chiefs. I mean, I'm happy with it one way or another. Shutout or no shutout. It was a 41-10 win. And I'm happy that the Chiefs made a statement in all three phases. Harrison Butker went in there, got the Chiefs a field goal that they needed. A couple of them, in fact. Defense came away with a couple of takeaways. Chris Jones and the defense got in there for some sacks. And how many to be exact? I think I recall 3. Yeah, 3. 1 from Dana, 1 from Chris Jones, and I think Drew Tranquill and George Karlaftis split a sack. George Karlaftis, man, this guy's a monster. This guy's really good, and he's going to become one of the top 5 pass rushers in the NFL. He's not there yet, and I don't think he's too far. He's going to become a top 10 guy and then a top 5 guy. And listen, who knows what the future holds with Chris Jones, but if they figure out a way to keep him long term and manage to keep everyone else, boy, this is going to be a really good team for a long time, especially on that defensive line. And that's what you need. You heard Greg Olsen talk about it a couple of times in the broadcast. There has not been a defense this good in the Mahomes era for the Chiefs. So for the Chiefs to be able to have this, and I've complained about this in past years, the Chiefs have not had a balance. And it's weird because we've had some games where the offense was not playing as well, but the defense was. And it was just so frustrating because we can't seem to find that balance with the offense and defense on a consistent basis. This is the first game today of the season where we can say we saw that balance, and we hope that they can keep that moving forward. Obviously, we have a game next Sunday night. I don't think it's going to be a very highly watched Sunday night game, especially in the second half. But hey, you never know. Primetime games are weird, and so are Chiefs games. Thankfully, today that was not the case for weird Chiefs games. But I don't know. It's just the way that some of these defenses are playing. The Vikings, the Jets, the next two teams the Chiefs are playing. There's a good opportunity for this Chiefs offense to keep it going, and by the time they get back to the meat of their schedule, they'll maybe have some things down and be able to play with more confidence with this offense moving forward. And Daniel was mentioning the Germany game against the Dolphins. That's a game where your offense needs to be at its A game. I mean, everyone needs to be in their A game. That right. A lot of people thought the Bengals game was going to be the biggest game of the season for the Chiefs. Right now, it's looking like the Germany game against the Dolphins, because the Bengals, I mean, they can't score if their life depended on it. They're hardly getting to the end zone this season, and it's probably not going to be very easy tomorrow when they're playing against Aaron Donald. That Rams team is playing much better now than they were last year. The Bills, I mean, you just never know with the Bills. They're kind of an up and down team. They didn't really look the best against Washington, a team that, yeah, sure, they shut out for 3.9 quarters, but still, I mean, Josh Allen not playing not playing the way he's hyped up to be. Let's put it that way. So the Chiefs are playing. They're definitely getting better. I think in terms of overall offensive production, and I know with the points, it didn't really match the first 2 weeks, but I think in overall, the way the offense moves the football in the passing game, the Chiefs have gotten better each week. First week was really tough. Moved the ball pretty well, but the drops became a huge issue in the second half. Then in the Jaguars game last week on the road, the Chiefs go out there, move the ball well, did not really turn up with the scoring, but they were still able to get some things down by moving the football better than they did in week one. And then in this game, the Chiefs just, they just destroyed the Chicago Bears. Patrick Mahomes, I haven't even read a stat line yet. 24 of 33 passing, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. This was in 2.5 quarters. 2.5 quarters. 272 yards in 2.5 quarters. He could have easily hit 350, maybe 400. I mean, that is a pretty good stat line for a 4-quarter game. And Mahomes did that in 2.5 quarters. Your quarterback. Oh, by the way, Patrick Mahomes, the fastest quarterback to surpass 25,000 yards in NFL history. I mean, this is just, and you heard again the broadcasters talk about it, just what kind of a football team this team has become since they got Patrick Mahomes. And yeah, they showed that nice little animated graphic with Kelsey at Union Station. I love that. Union Station is one of my favorite places. I was just there over the weekend. And you go out there and they're showing Tyreek Hill leaving, Juju Smith-Schuster leaving, and then you have all these new guys or non-household names that a lot of people just are not familiar with. Yet this Chiefs offense found a way to move the football in this game, which was encouraging to see. Travis Kelce played well, 7 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, I'm really liking Rashee Rice, man. This second-round draft pick's looking pretty good. And his name escapes my mind right now, but the analyst on ESPN, Louis Riddick, he said this in the offseason. He was pretty high on Rashee Rice, saying that this guy could be a stud in the NFL for years to come. He had 5 catches, 59 yards. He was brought down twice at the 1-yard line. So he had 1 touchdown that was called a touchdown, but it was taken away from him. The second one was not called a touchdown. It was ruled correctly at the time, and he was ruled down at the 1. So twice he was ruled down at the 1-yard line on his way trying to run to the end zone. So I'm really liking what Rashee Rice is doing, the speed he has and utilizes on the field. Pretty dangerous. It's not Tyreek Hill speed necessarily, but it's still pretty damn good speed that can really it can do some damage if it can find some crack in an offense or a defense rather. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Rashee Rice. Justin Watson continues to deliver despite not getting as many targets or receptions. Again, he's a depth player, so he'll have very few catches, but he'll produce pretty well whenever he can. Sky Moore got involved, which was good. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, not once but twice, had wide open receptions. One of them got called back. That was a touchdown play, but he had another one for 37 yards, which was good. Jerick McKinnon got in there for 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco on the ground. Or no, I'm sorry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the ground got in there for a touchdown. Oh, no, Isaiah Pacheco also scored. So Pacheco, CEH, and McKinnon all scored a touchdown. They were responsible for 4 touchdowns for the Chiefs, which was good to see. And there was a nice little moment on the sidelines. I don't know if you guys noticed this, between Pacheco, CEH, and McKinnon, where they're handing each other an invisible crown. I thought that was pretty cool. All 3 running backs scored in this game for the Chiefs. That's awesome. That is really cool. And then defensively, I mean, what is there to say that hasn't been said already? The takeaways, the stops, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And the only reason they got some scores is because the Chiefs backups that got in there didn't necessarily take care of the ball as well. But who cares? The game was already way out of reach. Yeah, Taylor Swift with the chest bump. I mean, listen, let me put this on the screen if I can for just a moment. Bear with me. Let's see here. Look at this. Oh, whoops. Is it going to play? She's saying LFG. All right, she's saying let's fucking go. Taylor Swift has attended 1 Chiefs game in her life, and she has injected Chiefs Kingdom into her blood. How cool is that? If people thought Britney was annoying during Chiefs games, wait till you see Taylor Swift, baby. I'm loving all the outrage on that. Devin says Jawan Taylor may get penalized for that stuff, but definitely still an upgrade. Yes, definitely an upgrade over Andrew Wiley. And listen, if you guys watch the Washington game today against the Bills, Andrew Wiley did not do Sam Howell any favors. The Commanders have been getting a lot of hype. Sam Howell, Eric Bieniemy, and I'm happy for Eric Bieniemy. But we're not going to be getting any Washington versus Kansas City comparisons this week. Not one bit. Dave's asking, did Kadarius Toney play a snap without being able to watch? I never heard his name. Yeah, Kadarius Toney, I don't even know if he was targeted in this game. He had 1 catch for -1 yards. So, yeah, KT has had a game where he had 1 catch for 1 yard, and in this game he had 1 catch for -1 yards. If it's negative, is it still plural? If it's -1, -1 yards, or -1 yard? I don't know. See, it's weird. The English language is weird, man. When it's 0, it's plural, 0 yards. But -1 yards or -1 yard, I don't know. In the positive, it's 1 yard. But either way, that's not good. And listen, you didn't really need KT in this one. Marquez Valdes-Scantling only had 1 catch in this game. 2, if you count the one that was a penalty. Justin Ross was targeted early. He got more snaps in the second half with the backups, but they weren't really looking to throw the ball too much during that time. So, and people were asking, where's Justin Ross? Where's Justin Ross? Well, he got involved a little earlier than we thought. Mahomes targeted him one of the first couple of plays. So he's getting there. He's getting there. Next thing you know, he'll be playing 15, 20, 25 snaps a game eventually. So be patient. He's getting there for sure. Christopher says, I'm going to be decked out in red tomorrow here in Fort Worth. Nice. How about those Cowboys? Man, if you told me there was a game other than the Chiefs that I thought was a guarantee, I would have said the Cowboys. I said this before the season. I don't buy the Cowboys hype. I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I mean, maybe they're good enough to get to the playoffs. And listen, I know I had them with a very low record before the season. Obviously, that's not going to be accurate, but I just don't trust the Cowboys. I don't. Again, the Cowboys might be good enough to get to the playoffs, but what about after that? Because I'm seeing a lot of people pick the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl this year. Why? I don't get it. I don't see the hype with the Cowboys. I just don't. I have more confidence in this disastrous Bengals team than I do the Cowboys. I really do. Kara says this kind of game is good for my blood pressure. Someone was saying the same thing earlier about how this was not a heart attack game because Lord knows the Chiefs have many of those. Doug says Mahomes still working on getting everyone involved. That's the plan right now. I know I keep alluding to the broadcasters, but they again mentioned this again on there about the amount of pass catchers they're getting involved. Listen, you look at the Chiefs compared to the Bears. The Bears had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different players with a catch. The Chiefs had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different players with a catch. So almost double the amount of what the Bears had. Bears had 6, Chiefs had 10. So that's always been like, that was one of the very first things that impressed me about Patrick Mahomes, is that he does a great job of distributing the football better than any quarterback we've seen in years past. My phone is still on that Taylor Swift reel. So in general, it's just, this is one of those situations where, again, yeah, it's the Bears, but this is a confidence booster. This is what you're supposed to look like when you're playing a bad football team, right? I mean, okay, let me give you guys an example. Look at KU football before they were as good as they are now. How did KU football look in a lot of their games? They got their asses kicked almost every single game. They were the bad team, and there were a lot of mediocre to good teams that would face the Jayhawks, and they would blow out KU every single game because that's what you're supposed to look like. That's exactly the same thing here. So the Chiefs, and by the way, I'll say this again, I'm expecting another blowout next week against the Jets. I think their defense can create more problems, but I just don't see Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson has to play the Chiefs defense. That's not, I mean, if I'm a Jets fan, that is something I'm afraid of. So I'm curious to see if the Chiefs can keep this going, and I think they will. I definitely think they will. Corey's asking, do you think we'd be better if we had a true number one receiver? Yeah, this is a really good question. I think this is a valid point here because you look at the Chiefs right now, they don't have a clear-cut number one wide receiver. Obviously, Kelce, even if they did have a DeAndre Hopkins type of player, or if they got Mike Evans, Kelce's still your guy, but it would really help the offense a lot. I think Juju, again, not at Tyreek Hill's level, but I think he was performing at a number one receiver level. He got off to a slow start, but then he had that concussion, missed a couple of games, dealt with a lot of injuries. And again, look at last year, okay? Juju missed some time. Kadarius Toney missed some time. McCole Hardman missed a lot of time with his weird injury, and people weren't really sure what was going on then. The Chiefs still found a way to move on. Now, is that ideal? No. Yeah, you won the Super Bowl last year with 2 bad offensive tackles and a non-existent threat at wide receiver, but can you do that on a consistent basis? I don't know. I think the thing about this Chiefs receiving core right now, you don't have a lot of household names. You don't have a clear-cut number one guy, but there's a lot of potential with Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, 2 young guys, recent second-round picks, Kadarius Toney, Justin Ross, but we haven't really seen them play like that yet. So I think the Chiefs are really relying on that, though I don't think they'd be opposed to number one. There was a reason why they were going after D-Hop. Bob, I see you're waiting patiently. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, what a win today, huh?
Yes, hell yeah, Bob.
Yeah, they look good. I'd made some comments this week about, us being in a transition period. I think the transition period's coming to reality. The boys are starting to gel, and they're getting on the same page with each other, and I think we're in for a collision in Germany. And it's going to be an explosion, brother. It's going to be an offensive explosion. I am very impressed with the defense, and they're playing extremely well early. We used to have to wait till the 13th, 14th week before we could get into top 10 or top 15, over the last few years. And
top 10 and top 15 in what?
in defense,
Okay. Got you. Yeah.
Over the last few years. And this year they're on track, man, to really be in the top 5. They're talking nationwide. They're talking about them. So across the league, and it's very impressive. I hope that continues, and I think we can shut down Miami's receivers if that comes down to it. So I'm looking for that. You remember we was begging for Cincinnati to come to Kansas City last year. We might be begging for Miami to come on into town this. So, because I'd like to shut up Tyreek once and for all.
Yeah.
I know he's a highly talented person, but he puts out a lot of smack, man. And it's time to shut that show up.
Yeah, I know that's a while away. What week is that, by the way? That is week 9.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in November. Yeah, I mean, we've only had a couple callers, but everyone that's calling in is mentioning that. Yeah, I'll just say this right now. Again, it's early, but I think the only way you can shut that down is not with the secondary. I think the pass rush has to disrupt the when at the line of scrimmage, get to Tua fast, because if you can do that, that's going to eliminate those deep passes that Miami's so great at right now.
I totally agree. And boy, when I was I was upset with Smith. I mean, Chris Jones, but man, the dude is on fire, man. I mean, he's lit that thing up. And my hat's off to the cat, man. Hope he continues to have a great year and stay healthy. And he's got him all hitting on all cylinders on that D side, man.
This defense has been awesome to watch. I agree.
Don't think any of us doubted that Mahomes and Andy and the boys would get themselves together on the offensive side, other than our question marks on our tackles. But man,
for sure,
it's looking good. I'm pretty impressed today. So we'll see what brings next week, man. How about them Cowboys? There's only one other team I really don't like, and they're in our division. That's the Raiders. And,
well, they're about to play soon, so yeah, we'll see. All right, hey Bob, I appreciate you calling in as always, brother. Man. You take care. Take care. Have a good one. He mentioned Chris Jones and how he wasn't happy. And listen, I know a lot of people, me included, had some very strong opinions about Chris Jones. And listen, I've always thought the Chiefs would be fine moving forward. I don't think their defense would be as dominant without him. Yeah, sure, they look good for one game, but what did I say after the contract signing? I said, all is going to be forgiven if he can play very well. It's exactly what's happening, man. This is what happens. Doesn't matter if you get in trouble off the field. Doesn't matter if you have this contract dispute that carries over into the regular season, even just for one game. If you come back and play well, all is going to be forgiven at the end of the day. Oh, you and Rasheed went to Richmond High School. Okay. That's pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of people there are pretty proud of him, the way he's playing. Man, it would have been so cool if he had 2 touchdowns, though. You could tell he was a little upset not getting into the end zone, and I don't blame him. I mean, listen, you get the ball, you're so close. I mean, of course you want to go in there and get a score with him. He's bound to get a score next week, though. Can't help but feel bad for Justin Fields. What's going on in Chicago's bad. See, I agree with you, Connor. I like Justin Fields. I really do. I think there are some things that Justin Fields is capable of doing. I mean, listen, he's not at the level of like a Patrick Mahomes or a Tua or a Josh Allen, but he can do some things that can translate to wins for an offense. Chicago's just not helping him get that. And, I didn't think he was really good with his throws today. I don't know if it was because he was under pressure so much or what, but yeah, I like him. I think he's a very talented quarterback that needs to be in the right system. Unfortunately, it's just not working out. See, this happens sometimes, man. You can have a great career in college and you can have a lot of hype coming into the NFL, but if you get drafted to a bad situation, man, that can really just screw everything up. That's what sucks. Doug says, is Nagy a genius this week? Yeah, damn right he is. When you see that scoreboard 41-10, and by the way, I said it on Twitter. I didn't say this on Facebook. because on Facebook, you got to be careful with how often you post with the frequency. But I said that I love what I'm seeing. I love the play calling. I love the execution. I love the effort, the toughness, everything that was happening on the field. I was in love with. The only two issues were the Juwan Taylor, that situation, and not getting a score on the opening drive. That's it. That's all I had to say about the offense. Who cares about what Blaine Gabbert did? But Blaine Gabbert's, I mean, we'll discuss that if Blaine Gabbert is expected to replace Mahomes for the entire season. Until then, I'm not too concerned about the Blaine Gabbert issues. I will say this. I think the Chiefs need to consider a better backup quarterback for sure, because God forbid something happens and you go on with Gabbert, you're in trouble. I saw Cincinnati Bengals. Listen, I know I give Bengals fans a lot of shit and everything, and they love to say rent free, even though they love to talk shit also. I did see a Bengals fan on Twitter complain on social media this week and said that, how is it that you create such a great offense, but you don't have a viable backup in case something happens to Joe Burrow? I actually think that's a great question. The problem is there are reasons why backups are backups. If you had a viable backup, well, that viable backup is probably qualified to start on one of the 32 NFL rosters. So when you think of quote unquote good backups, well, a good backup can probably start somewhere in the NFL. Listen, I've always said this: Cooper Rush, why is that guy a backup? And by the way, where is he still a Cowboy? Yeah, he's still on the Cowboys along with Trey Lance, which I think is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say this: I'd be very confident in Chad Henne's abilities if he was still on the team, if the Chiefs needed him moving forward, but that's not the case right now. Sam says Chiefs offense never has the hero in consecutive games. That is a big difference in other teams. Yeah, that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing, Sam. Look, I mean, we talk about number one wide receivers for a reason. Now, last year, that did not hurt the Chiefs too much. Obviously, we saw what Mahomes did. Look, I've always said this for a long time. As long as Mahomes has a good pass blocking offensive line, which he does right now, then he can win with just about anybody. Again, I know what a lot of people are going to say. Oh, well, he's not shit without Kelsey. The issues in week one had nothing to do with Mahomes. He was hitting receivers in the hands. It was a matter of those pass catchers not dropping the balls or not letting them get tipped for a pick six. So I don't know, man. I can't understand like how people don't see that. Danny says, will Swifties drive up home game ticket prices? Oh God. Ticket prices at Arrowhead are already pretty damn expensive, man. Do not give any ideas, Denny. You will be blocked and reported for spam, and you will never exist on social media if you are the reason why ticket prices go up. No, I mean, I listen. Let me just say something, because I know you're being facetious, but you're also not joking. Listen, I remember Patrick Mahomes attended a Sporting KC game. This was like very early in his time with the Chiefs. He attended a Sporting KC game. And I went on Twitter. I said, is anyone watching the Sporting KC game because of Patrick Mahomes? My Twitter timeline, my mentions were X, whatever you want to call it. They blew up. Half the people were complaining, saying, oh, we watched Sporting KC anyway. And the other half were people admitting that they're watching the game because of Patrick Mahomes. Listen, let me give another example here when it comes to politics. Why do politicians reach out to celebrities for endorsements? Because they know that if the celebrity endorses them, well, guess what? That celebrity's fan base will have a lot of people following. This was talked about back in 2016 when Donald Trump was trying to get endorsements from celebrities. I think Tom Brady was a backer of Trump's, and a lot of people thought, well, if there are people who are huge supporters of Tom Brady, then they're going to be huge supporters of Donald Trump. Anyway, not to get too political there. My point is, if you have a celebrity that, is not necessarily endorsing the Chiefs, but is supporting the Chiefs at Chiefs games, well, guess what? A lot of Swifties aren't going to now become Chiefs fans because Taylor Swift is now a Chiefs fan, right? That's how it works, man. Man, you nailed Cowboys and Dak being overrated last week. Yeah, but I didn't think they would lose to the Cardinals. I had them winning. I mean, if you told me like what was the easiest money you could have bet on, I mean, obviously the Chiefs, but the Cowboys would have been like my second option. By the way, a couple of you guys, Cherie is bringing up the Dolphins, and Connor is asking about the Dolphins. Listen, the Dolphins are just doing what the Dolphins do, but I think a lot of it has to also do with the Broncos being terrible. Listen, both things can be true. By the way, why was Russell Wilson playing in the fourth quarter? Like, you're losing. It was like in the 50s and 60s by that time. Why is Russell Wilson playing? If for whatever reason the Chiefs are losing by 50 points, and if Patrick Mahomes is on the field, I'm going to be pissed at Andy Reid. Like, why are you putting your franchise quarterback out there? And I know Russell Wilson's not playing as well as Patrick Mahomes is, but that is your quarterback, right? He is the guy that you're still relying on to help lift this franchise. Why are you putting your number one quarterback out there when the game is over? Like, there's no reason whatsoever for Russell Wilson to be out there. I'm not blaming the loss on him. I'm blaming Sean Payton for leaving Russell Wilson on the field. That's stupid. I've never coached or played in the NFL, but I don't have to have coached or played to know that is a terrible decision to leave Russell Wilson on the field. There's zero reason to leave him there. By the way, speaking of Sean Payton, remember when he ran his mouth about how Nathaniel Hackett, was a bad coach and all that shit? Dude, that bit Sean Payton in the ass really badly. You're 0-3 and you just surrendered 70 points. Like, dude, you just got depantsed. I mean, have fun with that backlash. Exactly how a good team is supposed to beat a bad team in the last few years didn't happen because of the defense. This is a good point, Doug. That changed, so let's hope this is how they play against bad teams from now on. Yeah, I've never really thought of that way, Doug. That's a really good point. Man, a lot of you guys are excited about this Germany game. Michelle's asking, is that next Sunday? No, next Sunday is Sunday Night Football. The Germany game is week 9. Okay, a lot of you guys have already answered, or sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments. That is November something. The 5th. And by the way, that is an 8:30 Central kickoff game. So if you live in Mountain Time Zone or good old Pacific Standard Time, wake up early. I have to wake up early to do all this pregame shit. I am not looking forward to that. I am definitely going to take a nap after that game. I'm going to be missing I'm going to be missing whatever Sunday slate of games that day because, listen, man, I wake up early on weekdays. So on weekends, I sleep in. Like, I get really annoyed when people call or text me at 7 a.m. on my day off. That I don't need. I'm just putting. No. Okay, there we go. Zuckerberg, if you heard that music, please don't ban me. I muted it right away. I'm just putting YouTube TV here so I can watch the game. Although I don't anticipate being on here much longer. Let's see. Everyone's talking about man. You guys are excited for the Dolphins game. See, that should be flexed to a Sunday game. See, this is why if you're the NFL, you do not put these games overseas. You keep them here in America, but you cannot flex it to Sunday Night Football, so you're screwed. And there are going to be some people on the West Coast that might miss out on a really good game, which sucks. All right, I think I am caught up on the comments. Joe says Dolphins will come back down to earth. If Tua stays healthy, man, I don't think so, man. I disagree with you. I think that Dolphins team is going to keep going. Listen, there was a point last year where whenever Tua played, the Dolphins were undefeated, and then whenever he was gone, the Dolphins were winless. Now, obviously, that changed at some point. They did lose a game with Tua, but Tua just wasn't the same. By the way, I'm paying attention to Football Night in America. Okay, hold on. This is bullshit here. 56% of America is picking the Steelers. Only 56%. What? Okay, I mean, listen, if I'm wrong, I'll say it, but Jesus Christ, come on, people. Have more confidence in the Steelers. I know they didn't look perfect on Monday night, but they're way better than advertised. Come on. Pat needs to get some kind of ankle brace. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of treatment in the next couple of days. I'm sure Andy Reid will be asked about it on Monday. We'll be asked about it more on Wednesday. Obviously, it would be a dream to see the injury report on Wednesday and to see Patrick's name is not on there. That would be really cool. And I would really love another game like this where Patrick doesn't play much. Listen, again, I'm not a player. I'm not a coach. I don't have to take teams. I can take teams lightly. Okay. I'm not on the field. I'm a fan, just like you guys. I'm taking the Jets lightly. I'm sorry. I am. I thought they were a great team with Aaron Rodgers. Without him, they've got a solid defense, but in general, just not a good football team. So I expect another blowout next Sunday night. Couple more, and I'll get out of here. Toya says, I never went to a Kansas City Chiefs game. That's my biggest fan. Oh, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes in one of your earlier comments. Yeah, you got to make it out to a game, Toya. Arrowhead is definitely worth visiting if you ever get a chance. Sam says, because everyone keeps saying Tyreek Hill, guess what? Won a Super Bowl without him. And on the second season, the Chiefs team and coaching adjusts. We say that time and time again, period. You know, here's the thing. A lot of Chiefs fans complain that Tyreek Hill still gets brought up during games by the broadcasters. Yet I still see a lot of Chiefs fans say, oh man, I miss Tyreek Hill. Like whenever there's a bad game with the wide receivers, all of a sudden Chiefs fans miss Tyreek Hill all over again. It's like, listen, relax. The Chiefs receivers had one bad game. I know the offensive output was not great on the scoreboard last week, but I thought they made a lot of progress last week. More so this week. And again, I know the running backs took over more than the receivers, but you just won 41-10. So who cares ultimately at the end of the day? I still have a lot of expectations from the receivers moving forward. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Chiefs win 41-10. Appreciate you guys listening to this episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. For those of you who watched and listened live on Facebook and YouTube, thank you guys so much. Muchly appreciated. For those of you who listened on Spotify, Apple, anywhere where you can download podcasts, big thanks to you guys as well. All right. Chiefs win 41-10, improve to 2-1 on the season. All right, I am out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the interactions on Facebook, all the new followers. Shout outs to you guys. Much love to all of you. I'm out of here. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. Take care.